Well, now moving on to consider the half-open centre, which leads to one of the most common central formations in chess. It can occur in many different openings. A typical half-open centre would occur in the French defence, let's say, where black plays e6, d4, d5. There's an early capture on e4, and here we have a half-open centre. White's got this strong-looking pawn on d4, vis-a-vis a black pawn on e6, which is restraining White's central ambitions. Another typical case might occur in the Sicilian defence. Here we are. White opens the game, black takes. Half-open centres can lead to positions of imbalance. Typically in the Sicilian defence, White uses this pawn on e4 to build up an attack. He builds up an attack by moving out his pieces swiftly. Black, for his part, looks for counterplay. One way Black can get counterplay immediately is to attack the pawn on e4. And after that, maybe create play in the half-open c-file in typical Sicilian defence style. This type of pawn centre is not permanent. The position can change at any moment. So we're going to take a look at a couple of games to see how this might pan out. And the first of these is very interesting. It features two prominent grandmasters. It comes from the Gibraltar tournament of 2014, and it's between Grandmaster Kevin Spraggett from Canada and Nigel Short from England. And in this game, Short employs a defence to the Ruy Lopez, which he has been favouring in recent years. The modern Steinitz defence with d6. Outwardly very modest looking, but Black's setup is very, very solid and difficult to crack. So bishop d7 breaking the pin, and now the normal move for White here is just to play c3, building up a centre in typical Lopez style with d4, so that if Black takes on d4, White can recapture with his pawn. But Spraggett plays much more aggressively with another main line, d4, which quickly leads us to a half-open central position, with Black playing b5, White retreating his bishop, and now Black taking on d4. So here we see the half-open centre. You'd think that White would be a little bit better in this situation for a couple of reasons. He's castled, Black hasn't, and Black seems to be opening the game with his kingside pieces undeveloped. So I think we could say that this is a risky procedure for Black, although Short had good results from this position, so he was quite happy to repeat this variation. And now Spraggett plays an excellent move here, c3, and this is the way to pinpoint Black's lack of development. You know, sometimes in chess you have to take energetic measures, and this is one such position. With all those black pieces, let's get rid of some of these colours, with all those black pieces just sitting there on the king side waiting to be developed, there's a clear risk that the black king could be stuck in the middle. And the way to highlight this is to get all your pieces out. So normally against Short, you know, against any strong grandmaster, you know, you wouldn't be willing just to sack a pawn like that. But Spraggett has clear intentions in mind. He wants to get his pieces out, open up the centre, and then just blow Black away. So c3, this is the way to do it. Now, Short takes on c3. Again, he'd had previous experience in this position, which I point out in the notes. He won a nice game against Gaim Megami in, where was it, Tehran in 2013. So, you know, he's going into something he's got good memories of. Obviously, Black can play in a more wimpy style with d3 here, but this just seems to encourage the white queen to come out. Although, as the game goes, you know, maybe this modest way of getting the pieces out is better for Black than what happens. At least here, he's in the game. Although we can see that this half-open centre situation is clearly favouring White. Black cannot free himself with d5, and so White's got more space and better development in this position. So, of course, that's unattractive to Short. He's combative. He wants to take Spraggett on. He takes the pawn. Knight takes c3. Well, again, Short had to face this queen d5 move in previous games, where Black is just trying to survive, it seems to me, at this position. But queen d5, that is an all or nothing move. It forces the black queen to a passive looking square. Knight takes c3, but Black is gaining the time back with knight f6. I've no doubt at all that Spraggett reviewed this variation before the game and he preferred the simple knight takes c3, which basically keeps all options open. And now I think Short plays an extremely risky move in this position. He plays knight to a5. And if it wasn't Nigel Short sitting behind the black pieces, you'd have to say that this looks like a beginner playing. Because in a position where his king's stuck in the centre, he should be getting his pieces out, instead of putting his knight on the edge and just provoking white. And Spraggett needs no further provocation. He is now getting ready to transform this half-open centre into a direct attacking situation. And he plays the excellent move here, e5. That just threatens to open up the file and get to grips with the black king. Very easy chess. Short takes off the bishop, that's his intention. And now another very good move by Spraggett. A takes b3. Basically in this position, activity is the order of the day. So Spraggett, rather than recapture with the queen, which is a bit mechanical, prefers to bring his rook into the game and to, get that rook into use as an attacking piece. Well, black tries to block things up. White plays rook e1. And immediately there's a vicious threat. White is threatening to take twice on d6. Now also that pawn on e5 is preventing the black knight from coming out, which makes Nigel's life extremely difficult in this position. So king f8, whilst a very uncomfortable and horrible looking move, is probably forced. Bishop f4. It's always great in chess when you can develop with threats, develop with gain of time. And that's exactly what bishop f4 does, attacking d6 one more time. Black plays bishop e6, and now knight to d4. Another very good move, hitting e6, making room for queen f3. White's attack just moves along really nicely. So Nigel tries to block the position. Incidentally, knight c6 is also an idea. Queen comes out to f3. And now a really horrible looking move, but White's threats are so great that I don't think black can see what he can do. I think Nigel's trying to provoke Spraggett into taking on e6. I mean, this looks very strong. And then some discovered check with the bishop. But in fact here, I'm not sure that White has an extremely effective discovered check. I mean, he can obviously go bishop h6, check, something like this, king e8, bishop takes g7. But then it may be that black is defending himself in this position. It's not nice, but okay, black has given his pawn back to get developed. Instead, what does Spraggett do? He just plays h3. Well, bishop e3 was also good, ignoring black's idea of bishop g4. And the point is, if black plays bishop g4, white just goes queen d5. I mean, it seems to me that this is completely winning for white. As black's king is wide open, black can't complete his development in peace. And note here that after bishop e3, the rook on a1 is playing an extremely useful role, because knight takes b5 could strike black down at any moment if he moves his queen off the back rank. So the main line probably goes after bishop e3, king e8, and now we just play b4, with the point that if black takes, we go knight c6. And if he doesn't take, if he goes queen d7, then we land this punch. Black doesn't have any good moves in this position. It's absolutely horrible for him. But Spraggett, rather sadistically, decides to take away black's only active move here with h3 and says to Nigel, well, what are actually you doing here? So he's not doing anything. He's just shuffling his king, king e8, and now rook ed1. Intelligent use of the rooks, keeping that rook on a1 to land knight takes b5 if possible, and just threatening knight c6. Very calm move, and that will be followed by knight takes d5. It's curtains. Nigel played queen d7. The instant the queen moves off the back rank, white chopped on b5, rook b8, and now knight takes d5. Completely disastrous for black. There's no advice to offer. Short took on b5, and now Spraggett put him away very nicely. Knight takes e7, hitting the queen, forcing the recapture. Rook comes into a8, rook goes to c8, and now the winning move, queen to b7, putting intolerable pressure on black's position. So Nigel resigned. So that was a typical and rather brutal case of a half-open centre being transformed into direct attack. Energetic measures were needed. Energetic measures were exactly what Spraggett took.